Hello. Oh God. Hello. Okay. Can we see me? Can we hear me? Are we live? I'm so sorry. I'm 2 minutes late. Hello, Jacob Evans over on TikTok. Hello, Ketox. I'm sorry. I remember it's different on Twitch. Hello, Sus. How are we doing? I was a little, I was a little behind schedule this morning, but that was only because I was up so late packaging up all the Socketeer clubhouses, which they are fat this month. I'm telling you, they 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 were hard to seal. Originally, I had a plan because I need to send Sus the backlog of the first two issues as well. And I was like, I'll just put them all in one envelope. Nope, ain't gonna happen. So it might take a little bit more time to get yours over, Sus, and I'm probably gonna have to send them in a bigger package or something. They're looking good. There's a lot in this issue. A lot of juicy gossip. And also I was up a bit later trying to make sure that I knew what I was talking about on this stream because Run Run has like a few interesting things and there's a few things I missed in other streams in regards particularly to the artwork that I wanted to go over. So, yeah, I've got half a coffee. I didn't get time to make another one. And I've got my magical juice, which looks really dodgy, but it's just some vitamin C. I promise. Um, how are we all doing today? Hello, Ghost on TikTok as well. Today we have Sus moderating, as always. I'm acting like that's any different from usual. So everyone say hi to Sus. They're going to be making sure everything's looking groovy for me and just being their amazing selves, as always. Um, but yeah, uh, on today's episode with Sock It To Me, we are looking at how I made Run Run. And this was won by a vote in the Discord. So it was what everyone wanted to hear. It's an opportunity for me to give more of a breakdown of everything that's going on behind the scenes. We can look at some vocals, like isolated vocals, isolated music parts. I can break down the production. You guys can ask me any questions you want about the song, or any techniques maybe that I used if you're interested in the production. Just an opportunity to really dive extra deep into every little facet of this song. Um, I'm sorry. Sorry. Um, so, yeah, what was I going to say? I was going to ask you guys. I've left my guitar just out of reach over there. Oh, I might not even need the guitar today. Um, who here has listened to Run Run? That would be a good start, I guess, out of curiosity. I'm hoping all of you have. Let me just check. I also like to start with saying how many streams it has to boost my big fat ego. I'm just kidding. If my Spotify wants to work, Spider Man was here. Spider Man 3 reference. Spider Man 2 reference. It's all out of date as well. Um, obviously. um, yeah, I think Run Run has recently hit like 1.5 million streams on Spotify, which, like all these songs, is insane to me. I think for those of you who joined me at the beginning of releasing this album 2 years ago, very long time ago, Rum Rum was the second release that I put out. And it was when quite a few people joined on social media in particular. And yeah, at the time when I was releasing these songs, I really didn't know what to expect. I'd had a year hiatus sort of to finish up the album. And at the time, Say I'm Not Sorry was my top song, which probably had about 500,000 streams, which blew my mind because all my other songs had probably done around 10, 20,000 streams, which was still insane to me. But once again, I was starting fresh, it felt, and I wanted to set my expectations low. I wanted to get on BBC Introducing and get like 1,000 streams. Maybe this time round with these new songs, I thought I wanted to get 10,000 streams or something, and probably wanted to get a certain amount of listeners. Again, not to be obsessed with numbers because it's not all that's important. It's just it's a good measurement of your progress and success. And I really wanted to see at the time those numbers grow. Now I massively appreciate it still. Definitely don't take it for granted. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever think Run Run would hit that level of success. Especially out of all the songs on the album. Like I thought other songs would do better, but this one was a hit with you guys, which is so special. A bit about the song and why I was writing it, and we'll go deeper into the lyrics at the end. But the song itself, for me, I'm aware that I don't want to take away from what it means to other people because it might have a completely different meaning to you, or maybe it's a really happy song. But the song is once again following my theme of like sad songs for happy people, where I think most of my songs are kind of dancey. You can dance along to them, have a bit of a boogie, but also if you listen to the lyrics and want to know a bit more about the song, they usually got like a slightly heavier topic at the heart of it. In the case of Run Run, my partner who I was with at the time, and it's not just my partner, I know quite a few people in my life have had absent fathers in their lives, and that's kind of the subject matter of the song. It's about the feeling the need to escape important people in your life, but somewhat feeling bound to them or tied to them in a way that means you can't, despite what everyone else says you should do. That's kind of the core of it, and I'll go into the lyrics, as I said, at the end, where we can see exactly what I was talking about. But that's the crux of it. I thought this time we could start with, and I've just realized I haven't made up a scene for this, so I've already messed up on my live setup. But that's easily rectified. I can add that in quite easily. Oh, sus. Um, Let me add in an application capture, application notes. I made notes again today. Oh no, I added it to the wrong thing. Okay. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? God, there's too much on my screen going on. Hey! How are we all doing today? That is quite an important one, isn't it? What time is it that everyone is watching? It is about 11 a.m. here. So not crazy early or anything. But I'm still sleepy. Okay, I don't know why this has decided to float right off to the side. Transform, fit to screen. There we go. Okay, you can see my notes now. Crikey. And on Logic, I'm going to change all the pages. Blah, blah, blah. Add source. Display capture. Blah. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Window capture. That's what we wanted. Okay, so you can now see my beautiful notes. How's about that? So, the artwork. It all started. That is my ex girlfriend's hand, using as like a reference point for what I wanted to look, the artwork to look like. I have to admit, I have to give credit to her because she really did help me during the process of making this album, as far as the artwork and to be honest, I was always having like a set of ears for me to share stuff. Um, okay. Oh, 1 p.m. That's quite a nice. That's quite a nice time to be watching. And 12 p.m. Great. Um, yeah, they really helped me out, and they helped me come up with the sort of the theme or the common threads. Pardon the pun. That would tie in safety and jumpers with the artwork, which was I'd always wanted to have embroidered patches for each of the singles, and I was hoping, put them on the massive jumper. It was all the basic concept at the beginning, with each patch resembling the song, each song, and almost like how a scout wears different patches to represent accomplishing something. And I thought these could be like emotional ones, or conquering. I never know how to phrase it, but just conquering life issues, really. And yeah, my ex was like, had the idea of having hands in all of them, which really grew on me. And it's quite nice because you can really see the progress, the process of what I was thinking through these different images and how it developed. Because we've got, yeah, my ex's hand and the idea of having the bracelet on there, and then a very basic mock-up of what that could look like. A lot of them did look like that before, and I think I started with a sort of digital art kind of render of it, and I thought, no, they have to be real patches. I've got to invest some real money into this, and I don't know. I think I really wanted it to be a physical image. I wanted to achieve that somehow, and it's weird because I was doing this at a time. I believe this probably 1,000 times more than I did at the time. But at that time, AI wasn't really a thing. At least, not. I think it hadn't even really come about, especially generative AI. So I already really wanted to achieve that. Now it's like you gotta make it right. You've got to make it real. You've got to create something. That's the whole. I appreciate that so much more with any art or any craft. My cam on YouTube is covered. Oh, that's because I'm bloody moving the thing, isn't it? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Thank you, Sus. Uh, yeah, I was like, it's gotta be real. It's gotta be real. So then I went out and I managed to get the patches made, and I came up with some concepts. This was one. The idea being that you would get, you would buy the single. I think I thought that I had loads of money or something, which I didn't, to make singles, and then they would almost be they would come in a plastic wallet or something, which would have the embroidered patch with it. So you could buy it and get the embroidered patch to put on your own jumper. Super expensive, wasn't possible, and I was struggling to make that image a reality. And I mean, it was pretty experimental. I don't know if you can see, but it's got like run, 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 run written down the side. And I did do mock-ups for every single for this. But I think I even did some versions, and it may even be on here. It's got like some Mandarin. It was just like, it was all aesthetic based. Then I went back to basics and thought, okay, we can try something super simple with just the patch, kind of more like my old singles. But I really didn't want it to be the same again. I wanted it to be slightly different. Tried some close ups, and then ultimately landed on this, which was just me trying to incorporate as many real things as possible. As I said, I wanted it to be a photo. I wanted, maybe it wouldn't come as a surprise to some people, but I wanted people to look at it. And when I told them it was just an actual photo I took of the jumper with the patch and stuff, they'd be like, "No way! I assumed you edited it or something." But I don't know. So yeah, I for each one I'd like get a bunch of clothing that was matching the color. Probably all my ex's clothing. I typed out the lyrics. I even hand wrote the lyrics. Hey KK, how's it going? So I just noticed you joined. I'd add the lyrics on, a bit of the thread, and I put my hand in every single image because I wanted it to be obvious or at least allude to that human touch element, that it was a photo and that there was a human involvement in the process of it. I'm doing a breakdown of Run Run. If you have any questions, this is for everyone or anyone who's joined. We're doing a live breakdown of Run Run, my song that recently hit like 1.5 million streams. So I'm going to do a breakdown of all the production, the songwriting, the artwork, the lyrics, and if you guys have any questions along the way, it's your chance to ask about it, whether that's about music production or songwriting or whatever. So yeah, please do ask away in the chat. Hello, Rishara Bentley. Thanks for joining on TikTok. So yeah, that's what we ended up with. A little, like in my head, I put safety in jumpers. Oh, Loggy! No way. How's it going? Thank you so much for joining. You've been busy. What have you been up to? And are you going to stick around for this live stream? That's the most important question in the world. Yeah, I put safety and jumpers in the bottom corner of every single single. Every single single. Way before I announced safety and jumpers, and it took me way too long. Okay, sorry. TikTok is restricting me for some reason, but hey ho. Way before I announced it, I think I was hoping to make a bigger deal of the album itself, and it's all a learning process. But it was always there from the beginning, safety and jumpers. And then there's a little screenshot of when I first released it, or shortly after I released it. Over 1,000 streams. It was pretty crazy time. Like mad. I would always screenshot. Oh no, I hope you feel better soon, Loggy, but I'm here to keep you company for as long as you want to stick around. Yeah, that I would always screenshot, like especially if I got over 1,000 streams, because it's like that is crazy. 1,000 listens? What? You're kidding me? I don't know whether that happened in a day or a week, but it would have been significant to me. And also a screenshot I found of my Instagram at the time where I only had 998 followers. And you can see, where is it? Run, run, out now. Wow. It was a long time ago. It was a real long time ago. So, that's the artwork out of the way. Maybe the boring part, maybe the best part of the whole stream for you. I don't know. But now we can safely move onto the Logic Project. The Logic Project. Which I can't. I don't see why I ticked. Okay, I've appealed it on TikTok. Trying to make me make appeals in the middle of a live stream? You're crazy. You're crazy, TikTok. Eh, eh, Here we are. We are in the Logic Project. For those of you who don't know, Logic is some music writing software or production software that a lot of artists, including myself and people like Phineas and Billie Eilish, not to put myself in the same category as those guys, but they use this to write and produce music. It's a really cool piece of software. For me, it's the most intuitive and the most fun to use, and that's kind of why I've stuck with it. And Um, So I just realized I want to have, if I can, I was hoping to have the live chat up, but I don't think I can whilst I'm on Logic. It's a bit annoying. Let me get it up on my phone so I don't miss a beat. Um, YouTube. Please bear with me. For anyone who doesn't know, Sus is our moderator today and every day, and they'll be in the chats as well, making sure everything's all good, but also sharing the Discord, which everyone should totally join because it's the best Discord in the world. And it is really fun. It's really lovely. Whoa! Ah, Mr. Wholeness Navigator, thank you very much for joining. So, yes, this is Logic. This is a project. Now, this is an old project, so it's a bit messier than it would typically look at the end of the process of writing a song. But I have tidied it up a little bit. The reason I've gone for an old project is because there's usually a few like little bits that I got rid of during the songwriting process, and it's kind of interesting to see what could have been. Because you know, it could have been a very different song sometimes. Um, Now I'm going to do my best to structure this a bit better because the first stream, although I covered a lot of stuff, boy was I all over the place. What a palaver. Um, that's. I'll try playing the song. There's a good chance it's going to overload because these old projects were really big. But we'll have a listen to Run Run. Just as I thought. Does it not sound right? Is the sound a bit weird? Corrupted sounding. Just a tad. Oh, wait. Well, this would be a new issue to overcome. God knows how I'll figure this one out. Sorry, guys. It won't be a Sock It To Me stream without some technical difficulties. Sounds like 20,000 bees stuck in a blender. That's what Run Run is. That's what it sounds like. What are you talking about? Settings. Can't seem to adjust the actual sound for some reason. Settings. Audio. Well, the bitrate is rather low. I don't know how to overcome this. Did we have this issue last time? E. I don't know how to resolve this. This is beyond my expertise of TikTok Live. Hmm. Let's take a look. Take a look under the hood. Okay, my best bet. And I can see there's 4 of you guys watching on TikTok. So if I have to end this and restart it, I expect each and every one of you to rejoin, okay? Please. I'm going to restart this stream very briefly and see if I can up the kilohertz. Okay, here we go. But see you in a moment. I really want to. How we doing over on YouTube? You're being very patient. I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Audio. I hope this helps. Let's give it a try. No, it's trying to change my video bitrate again. Okay, we're back. We're back on TikTok. Hey, Sus, can you tell me if this is any better?
I think I need some new white shoes so I can get away from.
Well, I mean, that overloaded. Nope, it's the same. Hell yes. Hell yes. Ah, Keytogs, that would be amazing to get them on Deezer. That's so cool. I did see you made that playlist as well. And Loggy's also joined on YouTube. Well, perhaps it's such a shame. It's just a shame that I can't just stream to 2 places, isn't it? Because I know quite a few people hop on TikTok. Okay, well. My best compromise, I think, will be, sadly, I'm going to keep streaming on TikTok, and if anyone joins, we'll try and move them over to YouTube so they can watch it properly. And TikTok is just going to be my gateway to the real stream. To avoid any more hold-ups on this. But thank you very much for pointing that out, and I'm sorry to anyone on TikTok watching who's having an issue, but please do join over on my YouTube channel. It's SOCKiTTOME, and you can watch the full screen as well. It's massive.
You. He said life's so hard without you around, but they go run, you run.
Whoa.
Like a gotta run, no heart beats fast as they leave the room. Everybody says that I should try and run, but
Thanks,
I
Sus.
can't 'cause you're the only one I run. Like a gotta run, no heart beats fast as they leave the room. Everybody says that I should try and run, but I can't 'cause you're the only one I run. I really wanna make this work, but you are such a Captain Kirk, calling all the shots, jaded when I'm not even getting enough. No, I don't give it.
Oh, now what's going on YouTube? Oh, right. Sorry, you're just saying that's my SOCKiTTOME YouTube. Sorry, Sus. I misunderstood you.
You had me B-E-G-G-I-N-G, I'm begging to work. I won't be there if you need me. I'm not willing to serve. If you see me, then it's already more than
only one I want.
only one I want.
Why is there always an issue? So, that is the song Run Run. Albeit you got it on the installment plan there because that did not want to play. So, just a very brief and quick insight into Logic so you can understand what you're seeing a bit better. These colored segments or little audio are audio files, and those are ones that you can hear when a project is playing. Anything that is grey like this means that it's muted and you can't hear it. So there's sometimes another idea that I've had, or it could just be that it's the same idea with a different sound. Any number of reasons something could be muted. I have on this project color coordinated stuff if anyone's interested in just understanding it as well. Yellow is anything percussive. Red is anything bass related. Green is anything that's digital instruments. Blue is guitars of any sort. And then pink ones are just any vocals. I've also got the structure at the top, which I like to do in all my songs because it really does help visualize what you're doing and just with workflow and stuff. If you're trying to jump around a project, it's good to know where you're at really at all points. This is an old project, so you can see that it's got the structure. I called that part the rap. I was always very vocal about calling it a rap at the time because I wanted people to say that I was rapping. And you may have also noticed, maybe not, it's quite small on your screen, I think. There's like a big chunk missing. Run Run had a not very different structure. It had a different structure at one point, and I think it was a lot longer, and it had this whole other weird idea that we will come to later in the stream, and I'll show you. But to begin with, we'll go through some vocals. I think sometimes people find it interesting just to hear the isolated vocals, to hear what they sound like with nothing else going on. So I can show you that. There's not loads with these. It was kind of all over the place with this album, but with Run Run, it was quite a minimal one. KK, how's it going? Apparently, we're facing a few technical difficulties with audio on TikTok. So if you want the full experience, I highly recommend moving over to YouTube. Sus has sent the link, but if you're happy with it over there, by all means, stay on TikTok. I've got my eye on the chat anyway. So this is just
Somebody better show me out, 'cause I've been feeling way dragged down. I've got myself a loose white tooth, and you're like sugar in my wound. My daddy.
kind of the same all the way through the verse. It's just one vocal, and then these little segments are reverb tails that I've added in. More of a production thing, but sometimes I found when you are producing a song, you can have reverb on a vocal, but if you've got it on a whole vocal, it can get a bit cluttered. And sometimes you just want to add it to that last word to emphasize.
Me out.
Yeah, I think I've even put, by the sounds of it, I've pitched down that reverb as well, and it's an echo. Ooh. Ooh. Pre-chorus, one vocal.
They said life's so hard without you around, but they go.
One vocal. That's a weird one. I really wanted to do like a talky bit in a song. I thought I wanted a bit that I wasn't necessarily singing and I could just yell into a mic. doesn't really follow a particular melody, or at least it's hard to recreate for me sometimes live because it's just life's so hard without you. But they go. I don't know. And then the chorus. Chorus is a weird one. Probably one of the messiest choruses that I've recorded ever. Because I just like the way it sounded. I think there's a couple notes that I've like pitched up or tuned or something that typically I would completely redo because you want it to sound like a straight up performance. But there was something about the tone of those vocals that sounded cool.
Run, your words are like a Gatling gun. My heart beats faster as they leave the drum. Everybody says that I should try and run, but I can't 'cause you're the only one I want.
So, you can probably hear it, hopefully, maybe not on TikTok, but there's just two very. Oh, TikTok sound of. Well, what do you know? Two high vocals, an octave above the main melody, which sometimes can be really hard. I always love to do it, but like. That's like insanely high. How did I. I think. Val, this is a program called Logic, which I highly recommend to any producer out there. It's very intuitive, very easy to use, and you can outright own it still. You can buy it, and it's by Apple. You can only get it on a Mac. They have introduced a subscription service version, which is obviously cheaper for a period of time, but I would always recommend owning your products if you can, because you don't want to end up getting tied into a subscription for the rest of your life. That'd suck, I think. But there is more. It is cheaper if you do it that way. Anyway, I'll keep my opinions out of it for now. That vocal is definitely pitched up. Definitely. Which doesn't surprise me because I can reach that note anyway, but it could be that I recorded this in a different key and then I just moved up the notes. You can see here, this is like it's called pitch flex. Flex is their general term for when you're like stretching audio or changing the pitch or anything that's manipulating frequencies like that. I reckon, yeah, I just moved everything up a bit. I mean, they're all crazy. You can see the waveforms. They're not necessarily sticking in their note particularly. Anyway, those are the high vocals. And then, yeah, the lead vocal. Brace yourselves, because I don't think it's very good. It's just, I like the way everything sounded together.
Run, your words are like a Gatling gun. My heart beats faster as they leave the drum. Everybody says that I should try and run, but I can't 'cause you're the only one I want. Run.
What's the effect on the ad-libs, Keytox? When you say the ad-libs, do you mean specifically
So hard
this one?
you around when they go.
Or is it a part I haven't looked at yet? Because that can definitely let you know the effects. Yeah, those vocals are really rough. Really rough. I think you can hear parts of it are absolutely untouched, and in other parts I've moved around, maybe where I was trying to find the melody. And you know what? I've just realized that there was something else I wanted to start on before I went into the project. Silly boy. Silly me. Oh, the higher parts. What effects? So for the higher ones, it is really just... I've just moved all the notes up. But if you look here on the left side of my screen, there's these little blue blobs. They're called plugins. And plugins are just really effects that you can apply to either a chosen line of audio or a grouped amount of audio or the output of everything all together. So on these vocals, this is very classic me, especially for that time, but I used the stock compressor. When I say stock, it just means it's the one that comes with this software, so it's free. This is the stock compressor, and a compressor is just something that effectively in short, makes things louder, but boosts any quieter sounds in some audio, and also squashes down any of the louder stuff. It just squashes it all to make it all one more consistent level. So it usually sounds better, and it just brings out more of the color in the voice. This is a preset called Studio Vocal, which I probably still do start with that and then fiddle with it from that point. And there's a whole bunch of dials, which I'm happy to explain. I think I did explain in the last video, but they all do basically what I'm saying there. Nectar, one of my few paid plugins that I use, and this it was a really useful tool when I first got it. It's got pitch correction, but it's a one that sounds really nice and a lot more natural. And you can also use this thing called Vocal Assistant, which gives you a starting point and it gives you some suggestions on what you can do to the vocal. But these are all just very basic things. We've got EQ, so it's just taking out some of the frequencies or adding a few frequencies. De-esser, which gets rid of the S's in a vocal or any sound. And another compressor. Whoa. I love my compressors. EQ. This is a pretty extreme EQ, but I'm cutting off a hell of a lot of the low end. My guess would be, well, because these are the high vocals. It's nice because you can see this visual representation of what is going on in the audio here. This is the vocal. And I would say that there probably was nothing particularly going on down here that I wanted to get put through into the mix. And then lastly, Shaperbox, which I use as something called sidechain compression. I did explain this in another video again, but I'll stop saying that because I know a lot of people probably didn't tune into that one who are here today. Sidechain compression is basically you can trigger that compression that I was referring to earlier to dip the sound of another audio file. So in this case, I was trying to emulate a kick drum squashing down the vocal every time that sound's made. So it creates a pumping sound in the audio. I feel like I did explain that a lot better last time. Thank you very much for following me, Vader's Heart, over on TikTok. We are doing a live breakdown of my song Run Run, which you should listen to. And if you've already listened to, ask away. If you've got any questions about production or songwriting, if there's anything you want to know about it, let me know. So those are the effects on that vocal. Also got a lot going on the master here, but we'll come to that. So what I wanted to say before is that like the first idea that initially came to me. Oops, a daisy. The first idea I had for Run Run, which is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. It's nice that I have this. It's not wanting to load. What's this? Sorry, guys. Apparently, I've forgotten how to do anything on my Mac. Right. Okay, guys. I need just finish your vocals on Melodyne. I could never get used to Melodyne for some reason, but I heard it's the best of the best. I have got a basic version of it. Yes, people on TikTok and YouTube, I need your ears to tell me if you can hear this. Who can hear that? Can anyone hear that? Please say you can hear it. It'll make my life easier. Okay, Minion Lover can hear it. Hello, Minion Lover. Thank you for joining. And can we hear that on YouTube? Hopefully we can hear that on YouTube too. So, I originally had, I don't know why, but nothing on the old YouTube. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We can fix that. I can fix that. I can fix it. I'm telling you. How do I fix it? I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. Got this. Okay, if I do this. Boo! Okay. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to have to briefly do something. Crikey, what a world we live in. Can we hear this? It's so worth hearing as well. There we go. No? Okay. It's fine. It's fine. We'll do it this way. Okay, right. So, here's the idea. No, I did it again. I did it again. Okay, now you'll be able to hear it.
Da 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 da.
There you go.
Da da.
Should be able to hear it on YouTube. That was. I used to do a lot of busking when I lived in Wales with my partner at the time, and every so often you'd be playing a song or noodling on guitar, and I would be like, "Oh, I've got an idea," and for whatever reason, I said to myself, "Yeah, it was very, very windy." I would like literally just pop my phone on guitar, and I thought, "Na na 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 na." And it's funny. I think this is like why it's important, even when you have a really small idea that feels silly, to just record it, because when you go into the studio and you don't always know where to start, and you can just like scroll through your little clips and find something and be like, that's a starting point. That was the case for me with this. I think I just thought it'd be a cool riff, and my ex would kind of take the mick out of me a little bit because they'd say, you're never going to use that. It doesn't sound very good. And I'd be like, no, I'll show you. I'll prove you wrong. So I would have got home, and then I played this. And I'm hoping this isn't anything crazy. It's just me playing on guitar. That should have just been me playing guitar. I can no longer. This is ironic, really, isn't it? You guys can hear it now, but I can't. Yeah. So I just put that on guitar, and then got into Logic and started fleshing something out. Be cool reverse. Yeah, yeah. I think I did try some bits. I originally tried to put it in the song as like that audio. I wanted the song to start, and you can hear it here. I wanted the song to start with the audio from the original recording. No.
Da 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 da.
I think you agree, and I definitely decided that that did not work for me. Oh, my leg is seized up. Christ. Yeah. So that was just something I wanted to cover before. That the idea came way before, probably as early as 2021, 2022. It is. I've always wanted to be able to use some of those samples, and like your phone is a really good microphone these days. You know, it's not how bad they used to be. Um, right. So verse two, we can check out my old rap, as I called it. There's a few little gems in the vocals that we will get to. Oh, you know what? We'll get. I did. I wanted to have. I think it was in a vocal idea as well. I won't grab that up, but I wanted it to go like run, 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 run. So me saying run, run to the rhythm of that, like in the bass, just doing that bum, 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 and then I wanted to layer it up so that it was some of the notes of the chord, and I just could not find a place for it. And I think it's just kind of hidden in the song now in random parts. Looks like in part two of each verse. But today you can hear it in its raw form. That's not it. That's not it. Those are just some other ideas. That's one thing. I had two ideas. I think here are my run runs. Sorry, they only come in at the end. Let me know who had a keen ear and already heard this. Please let me know. It'll make it feel like it was worth it.
Run, 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 run.
So
run, 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 run.
I just stack the vocal. It's literally the chords. As the chords change, I change to the next note in the chord. So it would have been built up from the root note, the third, and the fifth. I would assume. We can.
Run, 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 run.
So that's the root note.
Run, run, run,
I doubled it.
Run, 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 run.
The third,
Run, 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 run.
and then one on the fifth.
Run, 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 run.
Oh no!
Run, 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 run.
No,
Run.
Just the first and the root note and the third. Yep, a little Easter egg there. See if you hear that in the song now. Yeah, it's just in the outro part of the song. Oh, you can still hear there's an old vocal idea in there. We'll come to that in a moment. Right, to the rap. When Matthew, when Suck It To Me broke it down Jay-Z style.
But you are such a Captain Cook, calling all the shots, jaded when I'm not even getting enough. No, I don't give a You have me B-E-G-G-I-N-G, I'm begging to work. I won't be there if you need me, I'm not willing to serve. If you see me, then it's already more than you deserve. You know where you can find me when you're willing to learn.
Pretty cool. And I think I've just doubled that vocal. And I've put one off to the side. I think I usually have a way of doing things when I'm writing songs. Like I want a vocal in the middle always so that it comes through clearly regardless of where you're listening, and then I'll usually end up like adding doubles into the sides to make it more wider mix, and I'll do that on the guitars, and then I'll do it on the bass or something crazy. And then when you get to the end of that process and you want to mix it and you want to make the most of that space that you have, I start making some different decisions. So like here I've just panned one off to the right instead of having one both sides, which I'm sure I did because there's probably something on the left occupying that space. So, hello, fill in the blanks. Thanks for joining. It's good. You want to make space. Like mixings are very complicated and probably quite a personal thing. Fill in the blanks. It must be. I'm trying to think what the time would be there. It must be nearly midnight. Right. So yeah, there weren't too many like stray ideas that didn't make the cut for Run Run when I was going through this project, but as you may have just heard a glimpse of, there was a random guide vocal, which I think was my idea for a bridge, which we will take a look at now. So this is something that could have been. That is what was and always shall be, but that is not the idea that I was referring to. There you go. I even labeled it. Why can't I do myself a favor and read? Let's get rid of these other vocals and see. I think that was, yeah, that was supposed to be a bridge section, I believe. And the bridge ended up just becoming that repeated vocal part.
Around and it goes round and around until I think I get it. If it didn't really matter, then let it. If it didn't really matter, then you know you wouldn't sweat it. But they feed you little lies.
That don't sound right.
Shoot around and it goes round and around until I think I get it. If it didn't really matter, then you know you wouldn't sweat it. But they feed you little lies till you.
Yeah, it wasn't a fully fleshed out idea. It wasn't finished. It could have, maybe it could have worked, maybe it could have been something, but I think when I got to the end of writing this, I was just like, we gotta chop out some bits, including, so in Say I'm Not Sorry, I had this section which sort of goes, it goes really muted, like, and then it sort of opens up, and I think I wanted to recreate that in this. Say I'm Not Sorry was like probably quite a heavy inspiration for what I wanted to do going forward, just because of how well it did. So it kind of bled into other projects like this. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Let me know, guys, if you think this should have been in the song. I stand by my decision to not use it, but it's a bit funky. I'm glad your cat's enjoying it, Loggy. Thanks, guys. Oh, boom. I'm glad you understood what I meant, Phil. I'll just call you Phil for now because it'll be easier. That is exactly what I meant. A low pass filter to slowly reveal the song and the frequencies. Yeah, in context, this is what it would have sounded like. My heart beats faster as a drum. Everybody says that I should try and run, but I can't 'cause you're the only one I want. Yeah, I think going halftime and doing all of that just wasn't in the spirit of the song and the style that it was in. It suddenly got kind of electronic-y sounding, which it is a bit, but it is also mainly guitars and whatnot. So I think it just didn't make sense. And you know what? I would shake hands with younger me now, because playing these songs live, trying to do a low pass filter when you're playing live is, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? It ends up pretty much going on backing tracks so that not everyone in the band has to like get a low pass filter pedal or something, or a wah wah. So these are the vocals. I did have Yeah, I completely agree, Phil. There's these. I was always a bit unsure about these parts where I say about Captain Kirk and
I
stuff.
really wanna make this work, but you.
This work. I just wanted to add something into those gaps with the vocals, but
I really wanna make this work, but
I
you
agree,
are such a
Ketox.
Captain Kirk. Call it.
Captain Kirk. It's subtle enough that it works in the song, but it did feel a bit silly at the time. Tin Kirk. Tin Kirk was a hard one to get myself to agree to. We've got a few chopped vocals.
Where you can find me when you're willing to learn. He said, where you can find me when
Oh, you know what? Really weird way of doing this. I chopped up this vocal, pitched it down.
where you can find me when you're willing to learn.
Yeah, is organizing a whole band and how to get those things to work live is a long process. Um, there was also this quiz, kind of cool little bit. It's I very is this one? It's my vocal in the bridge section. I don't know what I've done to it. Oh no, it's because I'm on the wrong audio track. That's why. Shaper box, my good old friend Shaper box. Two shaper boxes. So what is it originally? I won't be begging to work. And then I've added this plugin, Shaper box. Shaperbox is one of those very cool plugins that for someone like me who doesn't have much money is great because it's cheap. I think it cost about 10 quid back in the day. It might be more now. Maybe it was 15, 20. The suggested looks, Tin Kirk. But it's got so many little cool effects, and the main thing I use it for is volume automation because you can create that sidechain compression thing that's referring to earlier, but you can also add automated filters, automate the panning, which is just your stereo field and where it ends up sort of falling. You can even adjust the width so it can feel like how wide it is in your headphones. But the coolest thing on Shaperbox is this timing feature, which is what is doing all the heavy lifting in this part. And I will never fully understand this whole grid, but what you've got here is this line is just untouched on the vocal. I think this represents 1 bar at the moment, but you can change that, and then bringing the graph down will chop it back to an earlier part of that audio file, and then it chops it forward, chops it, blah, 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 scrambles it all up. So that's what it sounds like here. But you could add one of their presets, and it sounds exactly the same. I don't know why. I don't know why it sounds exactly the same. It shouldn't do. I don't know. I don't actually understand why that's not changing anything, if I'm honest. But hey, it's a cool plugin. Just trust me. Trust me, bro. Oh, you keep hiding my chat. And those could quite possibly be all the vocal ideas that I had. So those are the vocals, right? Oh, that's the other part again. Right. Time to move on to the heart and soul of Run Run, the guitars. Oh my lord. I've completely lost my live chat. There we go. This is going to be rather revealing of how I record now. So let's take a listen to some guitar parts just all together. Yeah. Um, Realistically, not a guitar part that requires this many lines of audio, but the way that I have done it is so that I could split it up into stereo channels. I always confuse myself because I use Direction Mixer a lot in this. Direction Mixer is a plugin that pans it rather than using this panning knob, which is more obvious when I've done that. So what I've done is I've recorded the root note of this. It's like a compound third, I think. And again, at this time, and I had just got into sync music, writing music for sync at the time, and you get naturally when you play guitar and stuff, you get issues with string buzz or different notes, intonation where they're out of tune. Minions. Hello, twin skeletons. And in the world of sync, they don't really like that. They want it to be super clean, super in tune, no string buzz, just as polished as possible, particularly when you're doing pop music for synchronization. And this isn't my finest work in this area per se, but what I've done here is I've recorded the root note, the compound third on top of that, and I've chopped them up. So I have even got, you see these spaces in between. What the hell? Even in these spaces in between the notes have been cut out to get rid of any noise. I think I've tuned it. I didn't tune it this, or did I? I did not tune it this time. Okay, well, that's different. Everything is quantized, though, and it's locked into the grid. So we got, yeah, the root note. And we've got that root note off to the left. Compound third to the right. And I think the accompaniment is just one note. Just one note. Like a drone. Yeah, and that is the core of the song. I think very heavily inspired by the rhythm of Beat It. Boom, 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 boom. Or even, I don't know whether I was thinking of Beat It or Bruno Mars. What's a song by him? There's a song by Bruno Mars off of that Jukebox one. Something Jukebox. You can tell I'm a massive fan of Bruno Mars. There was also this guitar that I've layered on top, which I think it's like a general rule I follow when I'm writing music is I will try and add something new into each chorus without overloading or putting too much into it, but just to make it feel a bit more like there's variation going on. So this one is introduced into the second chorus in the right headphone, if you're listening in stereo right now. Yeah, this may have been before I got into sync music because these are some pretty sketchy guitars. Uh, but I do think something like that creates a nice bit of a sense of rising, a sense of it's building to something, you know. What else we got? Just separated some of these riffs onto so the main riff, the you've just got that over a couple different ones, so it can be filtered and let the vocal shine through when it needs to, and then that part can shine through when there's no vocal. That's the only reason I've done that. But a little tip for anyone out there who's trying to make a bit more space for their vocals in their mixes, perhaps. Help! There's so many bees. Welcome. Thanks for joining. What else have we got? Is this this may be the guitar solo? No, it's not the guitar solo. Ooh, a delayed version of the riff. Probably just trying to make that bridge feel a bit more like spacey and like, woo, bro, kind of crazy over here. The guitar solo. Let's see if it's as crazy as I did it for Disguise, because that was madness over there. We've got, ooh, got a whammy bar on the guitar. Wow. It doesn't sound very run to me, but it's kind of cool. I'll just double and pan them. I am very well, many bees. How are you? Are there still that many bees? I do have a very vague memory when I recorded those guitars. I was like, they don't fit, but they sound really cool. They gotta fit somewhere. And I put them over the guitar solo, and I think it probably is quite well blended in. I got them in there. I squeezed them in. Guitar solo. No, not so crazy. Not so crazy this time. We've got 2 lines to make that guitar solo work. That's kind of like the meat of it. And that's the second meat of it. They're both quite meaty sounds, actually. But I guess that first one actually has a bit more of the ambience. Yeah. Just checking I have coffee left. Yeah, I think that probably is it for guitars. One of these. I guess maybe at one point the guitar was supposed to be an octave higher. I gotta went with the octave down. Cause I think it actually goes up the octave at the end. No, I lied. I'm a big fat liar. Right, okay. The synths, the crazy world of artificial sounds. Here we go. Epic Rift. Okay, Ah, sorry, the live chat on TikTok, not you guys, the little panel I've got on my screen keeps playing up. It's being rather annoying. Let's hear all the synths together. They all come in at the beginning. Pretty subtle. This isn't a synth heavy song, even though it has got 5 lines. Although some of these are actually bass synths. So we got a little fuzzy bass. Arguably the most pointless lead synth you've ever heard. Another fuzzy bass in the left ear. Another fuzzy bass in the middle. What? Another pointless synth doing very little. And then a real bass. Crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of fuzzy basses going on. I guess I wanted it to be a bassy song. What have I used? These are all, no, for the most part, stock plugins. So sounds that you can get from the get-go when you buy Logic or when you get Logic, which is cool because you can do a lot with what's already available to you when you get it. But I also have something called Massive, which, I mean, look at this. What the hell? Look at all those dials. There's so much. I do actually know what most of that does now. I spent a long time playing around with synths, especially during uni. But my goodness, it's a bit overwhelming to look at, isn't it? But that's what presets are for, and you can fiddle with those. No real alternative ideas here. Yeah, and the bass is super simple. I did do this cool little run up, which I think even the bassist in SOCKiTTOME thought was cool. I think it's pretty cool. I used to be a bassist, so I would have loved that as a bassist. What else? Okay, percussion. Now, this is usually this is where I started before, so it feels weird to end on this. But I am not a drummer. I am going to lay my cards on the table. I am not a drummer. I don't know how to I can't play drums very well at all. And I don't own a kit. It's very expensive to own a kit and mic it up and have the space to use it, and also have neighbors that aren't going to ultimately want to kill you because you play drums. So I use what's known as MIDI, which you can use, as we've said before, for making instruments and sounds like that, but you can also use it to input drum samples. So you can download them. We've got a kick and a snare. And I've layered that with a second kick and snare. But I've also got quite a few other bits going on. Let's take a looky. Oh, it gets busy at the end. What's going on? There's one of my, not my regrets. Definitely don't regret it. I'm happy with it. I've moved on. It bugs me that I used a sample for that, like riser, the choir. I would never do that now. I would just record me going, and I did that in disguise. I've done it in all the other songs on the album. For some reason, in Run Run, I decided to use a sample for that. Maybe I just forgot to replace it. It does the job. It's not a big deal, but it does frustrate me that that isn't my voice doing that. Kind of pointless for me not to do it. But we do have a few other samples of things that I just wouldn't really be able to create, i.e. drums. The ding, I did later create this ding for other projects like You're My Fire and The Skies or Swim. I can't remember. Where I just hit like my ex's mug. We were together at the time. I didn't go over there and start hitting my ex's mug. That would be crazy. We have some risers and lasers, which is something I got into when I was doing like in particular back in the day, and I'm guessing on this album too. I always wanted to go for a disco kind of vibe, and they have these old. They're not Lin drums, but they're these drum pads that when you hit, you can have them dialed in to go like a pew, 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 pew. And it sounds really disco-y, and it's really cool. And I did it on a lot of songs like Guess One Up and Say I'm Not Sorry, and maybe even Oh Heaven. I could be wrong. And I've also done a few tracks on this album, and you can hear it here. Boo! I always call them lasers. I don't know why. Oh, and it reverses as well. Some little seasoning. Crash cymbal, really chopped up. Sometimes you know what you want to hear, and when it's all together, it sounds fine. But when you hear it by itself, you're like, what is that? I just licked my mic. A drum loop, which I've really filtered out a lot of the low end and the high end there. This loop as well. Yeah, definitely my weakest spot. I when I was writing songs, the drums become a bit of a part that I have to dip into samples, and usually I will chop them up and do my own thing with them to a degree, and I'll add my own layers and stuff. So it's never a straight up sample, but yeah, that it. This bloody chat. This bloody chat. That's pretty much the whole project. That's everything. There are some interesting bits in there. Other parts maybe less interesting if you're not into production and songwriting. Please do, guys, ask away. As well. I keep clapping. I'm applauding myself. If you have any questions at all about any of this stuff at any point, let me know. It doesn't have to be on this live Q&A, but it helps me out because I've dedicated this time to this. But let me know. I'm always happy to answer. Or if there's something I've missed or that you wanted to hear, I'm here. Last thing I will cover in this Logic project is the master, because it's a very important part of the process. And for a lot of people writing music, it's the part that they end up paying someone else to do it. And I say, no, you don't have to pay someone else to master your music. You can do it yourself, I tell you. And if you're like, Logic has expanded its ability to master songs massively in the last year or so, allowing you to do a lot of stuff that you couldn't do before. But up until that point, and I still do now, I use something called Ozone, which is, again, you can do this effectively in Logic now with the stock plugins. This is old. This is not what I do now. This is Ozone 9. I use Ozone 10. But if you're going to fork out, I don't know how much you're going to pay for a mastering engineer. And this is not to discourage people going to a mastering engineer and giving them work, because it's always great to reinvest. But I'm just saying, if you're investing into yourself, you're an independent artist, and you've got to pay out 100 quid or 200 quid per track to get it mastered, maybe even more, you could invest 100 or 200 quid into something like an isotope plugin which allows you to learn how to do it yourself. And you know what they say, teach a man a fish, and he'll eat fish forever. That is the exact phrase. So when you use Ozone, you can use this master assistant, much like in Nectar, where it gives you a starting point. It analyzes the song and it gives you a starting point as to what you could be using on the equalizer, on the compressors, and the limiter, which in this is called the maximizer, which you might be able to see here. You probably couldn't tell, but I've got two limiters on because I never knew that was a maximizer back then. So on my very first songs that I released, I had two limiters, which is madness because a limiter is just there to make sure it doesn't surpass a certain threshold or volume. It must have been so compressed. Okay, right. Camera's back on. TikTok is. Oh, what a horrible frame for my face to have frozen on TikTok. That's awful. The hell? The hell, TikTok? I'm back. Terrible. Why would you do me dirty like that? We're gonna have to wrap this up quick because I think the camera's actually gonna die. Mastering. Learn how to do it. I'll teach you how if I have to. Right, we're gonna go over to the lyrics very quickly before my camera dies, and I have to end the stream, sadly. Can we all see my pages? Not now, pages. So, Run, Run. That is the name of the song. As you can probably guess. I've lost my phone. We're going to go line by line, break down the lyrics. It's out there for everyone to know that way. Somebody better show me out because I've been feeling way dragged down. I've got myself a loose white tooth and you're like sugar in my wound. This is just opening up the whole theme of what I was talking about before, which is wanting to get out of a situation that you feel stuck in. And the person in your life is just using a metaphor, but they are a constant pain in your butt and really not doing you any good. You need to remove it like a tooth. Hello, MC Bosch. How is it going? My daddy said he'd wet my crown, and that's the most he'd been around. I think I need some new white shoes so I can get away from you. A few people in my life, including a few people in my life, have had absent fathers, and it's been like a big issue for them in their life, and it's like really hard to see someone have to go through that, and in particular when it's someone as close to you or someone you rely on like a parent. It's awful, and that is really about what this song is about in particular. And one person who I knew said that their dad went out to this weird expression. I don't know if it's just a British thing and probably quite an old-fashioned thing, but they'd say they're going to go out to wet the crown, which means when the baby's born, they go out for a drink. And their dad never came home after he went out for that drink. He left, which is awful, awful. and that was what inspired that line. Also, someone providing you new shoes and stuff is just typical of like what a parent should do. Um, Bad Dad Club. This is not. I can't say that my dad is about. My dad is lovely. This isn't about my dad, as I said. It's about other people's experiences with this, and me more reflecting on maybe my experiences with other people who've been a pain in my ass and have left me in the lurch and whatever. So, but I've not experienced it with a parent. He said, "Life's so hard without you around, but they go." Me just saying, they're always going to say, like, because these people, they emotionally manipulate you. They constantly come back and say, like, oh, I miss you so much. I want to hang out with you more. And then they go on to make zero effort, and they're just terrible, terrible people. They put all the emphasis on what they're doing. You're not seeing me enough, and it's so hard on me not being able to see you. Why don't you ever come and see? And it's like they never take the responsibility on for themselves to be a good parent or whatever it is in that circumstance. Run, run, your words are like a Gatling gun, and my heart beats faster as they leave the drum. Everybody says that I should try and run, but I can't because you're the only one I got. Gatling gun apparently doesn't have a drum. I don't know if that's true. Someone commented that on one of my TikTok videos. So maybe it's true. Regardless, the point still stands. When someone does reach out to you who you haven't spoken to in ages, if it is a parent, their words hit hard and it hurts. It's like it can feel like being shot, I'm sure. Everybody in your life is like, probably me from my ex and stuff, it's like saying, you know what, maybe you just need to cut them out of your life. But it's not that easy because you do feel very tied to that person. They're the only dad you've got. They're the only mum you've got. I know maybe you've got stepfather or stepmom, but like it's very hard. I find for these people that it's very hard, no matter how awful they are. It's incredibly hard to let go of them for those reasons, and it's not something I can claim to fully understand at all because obviously I've never been in that position. But this is just me writing from my understanding of that and how sad and difficult it seems to be for those people in my life who have gone through it. Really want to make this work. Be with such Captain Kirk, calling all the shots, jaded when I'm not even getting enough. No, I don't give a fuck. Almost swore for the first time in a Sock It To Me song. Yeah, it's all kind of on the nose, realistically. There's metaphors like Captain Kirk being a bit of an arrogant ass and running the ship when maybe he's not always qualified to do so and being reckless. Just all sort of metaphors or a representation of an absent father. This part is just like the breaking point of the protagonists. They're no longer willing to be there at the wave of a hand or at their every whim, and they want to break away from that. Yeah. I mean, that's all the lyrics. Then it kind of repeats the chorus. We got the life so hard without you around. He said, life so hard without you around. Yeah. I'm sure this is nothing more than you already could have gathered from the lyrics. But that is what they meant, really. They all come back to the absent father topic, which, like, you can just listen to, you can have a boogie to this song, and it might mean something else. And maybe when I came to release this song, I was going through a breakup, and that was the same for a lot of these songs, and they all took on a new meaning for me. And that is the beauty of music, is that you don't have to take them at face value every time. It could be your favorite summer song where you remembered going to the beach and you had Run Run playing and you were running around with your friends, or it could be about a breakup, or it could be about, it could just be on your running playlist. It could be about that horror game that Run Run was featured in. Pretty cool. Um, thank you so much for joining. Yeah. So don't let this restrict what the song means to you, but there's always what it meant to me, if that means anything at all. I am going to have to end the stream. What the hell is that? Okay, there we go. I am going to have to end the stream there because I'm fully aware the camera is going to die at any given moment. But please do interrupt me as I wrap up if you have any questions about the song, the lyrics, the whatever. I know, Sus. I wish there was more that could be done. It's awful. Um, yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this. I think we had like quite a number more tune into this episode, which is reassuring because it means I know that you guys want to watch these. And next Thursday, currently penciled in. I might have to move it to the week after, but it's currently penciled in that we'll be breaking down Mutual, which hit 2 million streams, which is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And I'll be doing this till we've done all my songs, whether you like it or not. It is always such a joy. It means the world to me that you're listening to my music, that it's reaching you guys, that it's getting these kind of numbers, and that you care enough to want to know more about these songs. I love talking about them too, so I'll keep doing them. If I've also got my live gaming streams next Wednesday. If anyone wants to join that, just a couple updates. The August edition of my newsletter, Socketeer Clubhouse, which I implore you to subscribe to over on Patreon, will be getting shipped out very soon. It's always announced on the 15th of every month, but members will get it delivered before then. This one is packed. It's so packed full of stuff. I can barely close the envelope, and it's wax sealed, and it's a nice way for me to give back to you guys for listening, but also the money that you pay for your subscription goes directly to supporting me and getting on my EU tour. And if you have any feedback at all about the newsletter, let me know in the Discord, because I would love to improve it and make it work for you guys. But Patreon members, if you subscribe, you will also get full access to full photo sets from gigs, as well as some live footage from gigs, like full live performances. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Let's just put it that way. So worth signing up over on my Patreon at It's Sock It To Me. I think that's everything. Live streams on Wednesday if you want to watch some gaming. Breakdowns on Thursdays. Friday, Socky sleeps, I guess. If only I could learn to shut up. I am alive. Sorry, camera dead. Please, please, please. Okay, right. I'm going to wrap this up. Camera keeps dying. Thank you so much for joining Socrates. I love you all. Come and hang out on the Discord and we can chat even more after the show. Join me on the next Future for the Lives that I got coming up and have just a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. You are all the best. It means the world to me. I'll catch you all very soon. Hell yeah. Love you all. Bye bye. Eh.